Former President Trump spotted yesterday waving to supporters as he prepares for his arraignment in New York on Tuesday for alleged, quote, hush money payments made during his 2016 campaign.
The Manhattan courthouse preparing for the unprecedented events this week as Trump supporters and harshest critics slam DA Alvin Bragg over the charges.
Brooke Sigmund is here with us live with what we can expect. Brooke, what can we expect?
Hey guys, good morning. That's right. Details of President Trump's arraignment Tuesday are now coming to light, and the whole thing should happen fairly quickly. Now, the former president is expected at the courthouse at 11 a.m. with the arraignment set for 2:15. It could be over as soon as 2:30 or 2:45, and the courthouse and nearby streets will be essentially locked down during that time due to strict security measures. Sources have told Fox News that this will all take place without handcuffs on the former president. Now, Trump was spotted giving the thumbs up to supporters who gathered outside Mar-a-Lago yesterday as his friends and foes say this indictment will only make him stronger. And former Attorney General Bill Barr agrees that support will help Trump but could hurt other Republicans running for the White House in 2024. Listen.
I think the impetus is really to help Trump get the nomination, focus the attention on him for 2 years, have this thing swirling around, plus whatever else comes, which I think will be damaging to whoever gets the nomination.
Questions are still swirling over how information from that grand jury indictment made it to the media before the arraignment. Now, former NYPD Inspector Paul Morrow asking where that leak came from.
Why is that known? That's a real felony. Under New York penal law, that is an E-felony to disclose the details of a grand jury investigation. The entire jury pool here is hearing, before the indictment comes out, about 34 counts, a very specific number. I want to know why Donald Trump doesn't seem to merit the same protection of his presumption of innocence.
Meanwhile, Trump could face a gag order from a Manhattan judge after Tuesday, which could mean fines and jail time if he speaks out on the case after his arraignment. Guys.
Oh, so they can leak whatever they want, but he can't talk about anything?
If there's a gag order, yeah.
If there's a gag order, got it. So he arrives at 11, but the arraignment's not till 2:15?
Right.
It's a lot of time.
Yes.
What happens in there?
I don't exactly know. I think
It's got to be what? Fingerprinting, mugshot.
Mugshot.
But
no handcuffs at
no
all.
No handcuffs.
And arrangements were made with Secret Service and NYPD. And I don't know all of the logistics, but law enforcement were meeting about this on Friday. I think they ironed it all out. But Tuesday's the big day, so
Maybe he'll be signing a few mega hats for the cops.
Probably. Yeah, exactly. Taking pictures during his arraignment.
Yeah, it's all very surreal. So, do we know what I heard that Marjorie Taylor Greene and some other people are planning to have a rally? Is that there on Tuesday in that area, or is that somewhere else?
I think that's somewhere else, but it's going to be a lot to watch for. This is history. I mean, a president of the United States to be arraigned, arrested for, we don't exactly know what these charges are. It's under seal. That's what we'll be learning on Tuesday. Yes, they say hush money payments, but we don't know. That hush money payment to Stormy Daniels, to the other woman, Karen McDougal, those things were investigated for years from federal prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, also Federal Election Commission. No one ever wanted to charge Trump on this. The FEC threw out that investigation in 2021. The SDNY prosecutors decided not to charge Trump in 2019. So, I mean, if that's what he's being charged for, it will be really interesting. I mean, I would have thought the statute of limitations would have run out on something like that.
But
it did.
Right,
but
multiple
it seems
times,
to not
I think.
matter.
No.
Do they read him as Miranda rights?
That's a good question. And I think most of it will take place behind closed doors. So, one day will there be a public information request and we'll see perhaps a mugshot if one is taken. But I think most is going to take place behind and not there for public viewing. Brooke, thank you so much.
Thank you, Brooke.
This morning.
Isn't it just clear to you that what he's guilty of is of winning? Because had he not won in 2016, this would not have happened. There would be no charges against him. There would be, this is a non-issue. Except that he won and he refused to go away.
This is a sign of weakness from the left, of course. They're so angry, so deranged, so threatened that they're using every tool possible, including the weakest one they could, just to create the dust cloud, the uncertainty. And they're still pursuing other cases in other places, too.
How popular will that mugshot be?
Probably the most popular photograph maybe in American history.
The obviously no corollary, but like in popular culture, the Che Guevara T-shirt is a thing you see around, right?
Oh, right.
I mean, this is going to be a
That's
thing.
interesting.
This is going to be like a cultural. I mean,
The Trump administration's already said they're going to release mugshot shirts.
yeah.
I mean, and they should. It's going to be in dorm rooms. It's
Yeah.
going to be on T-shirts. It will be a symbol of what it means to fight
The system.
the system.
That's it. Every one of those icons, every one of those T-shirts, every one of those pictures. That's what the underlying symbolism is.
Correct.
There will be no bigger.
I agree.
Yesterday, we had Eric Trump on, and here's what he had to say about the plans that his family and also the Trump campaign have. Listen.
We go out there and we fight. That's what we've had to do since the moment he came down that escalator. We've done it as a family. We've been incredibly successful. Believe me, they wanted to get him out of office. They wanted to throw him behind bars. You saw that with this Russia hoax. I remember I was the guy that got the phone calls. Do you have secret servers connected to the Kremlin in the basement of Trump Tower? I start laughing. I go, first of all, we're like mainly cloud-based computing. Second of all, you don't keep servers in a basement because basements flood. Like, what kind of nonsense is this? But despite the lack of logic of all of this, they pursued that for 3 years. And guess what? We had to go out and fight. The problem with the Democrats is they always dig so deep that they end up finding themselves. And guys, that's exactly what's going to happen here. But Americans are sick and tired of a two-tiered system.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that was Eric Trump yesterday. Then last night,
Well said.
Lawrence Jones on Cross Country hit the streets and wanted to hear from people what here in New York, I believe is where he was,
Yeah.
what people thought about Donald Trump's indictment.
Is definitely not what it used to be, and you feel the impact even in what used to be very safe neighborhoods.
So they just decided to charge Donald Trump. Do you think it's going to make New York safer?
Absolutely not. I really don't know why they're focusing more on Donald Trump when they should be focusing on the crime out here, because crime is very bad.
New York is not going to change, because Donald Trump is in jail.
If you do something wrong, regardless of your wealth or your position, you should be held accountable.
Leaders in New York City care more about going after their political opponents than actually dealing with the issues in the city.
Everybody's making it seem like, he might go to jail and stuff. But at the end of the day, we really got to focus on New York, on the people.
That's interesting. Maybe
get it.
it backfires on Bragg, you think, in this city? I mean, clearly he's doing it for political reasons.
Absolutely. There's absolutely no doubt. Left and right acknowledge the fact that this doesn't get pursued. They don't focus on him. They don't upcharge everything. They don't bypass the statute's limitations. None of it happens unless it's Donald Trump, their most prominent political figure, whether they want it to benefit him in the primary or not. But all of it comes at the expense of regular people who should be protected and focused on. And instead, every single charge that's a big one gets downplayed by Bragg. But for Trump, it gets upgraded.
50% of every drunk driving charge is dropped in this city, and this is what they're doing. All right.
There you go.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.